My father is a guitar player and band leader, currently living in Waco, Texas. He started here in Louisiana with J.D. Miller Music in Crowley, and he's like one of the main artists that they had in the 50s. And he did a bunch of recording for them, and then he left the area and pursued other businesses. But he's still active in the music business today.
And there's a great video online, the Ponderosa Stomp Foundation, if you know about them in New Orleans. They do some great festivals, and they've got a great interview with your dad, and they show some great footage of his music, and he's obviously a legend. And so it's great that the music was passed some kind of way, and I guess that would be my next question would be, how did you start learning, and was there French music, was that part of the repertoire? Because your dad wasn't necessarily known as a French musician.
Well, first of all, I wasn't raised by my dad. I was raised by my grandparents in Lake Charles. My dad gave me the desire to be a musician because I wanted to be like him. But I never really lived with him or learned anything from him because he was never in my presence. But he just made me want to do it because so I could just follow his footsteps. And no, my grandparents didn't listen to music much at the house. I mean, just holidays or something like that. So I didn't have any background in the Creole music other than what I heard from other people's houses on occasions.
Mais ta grand-mère a parlé français seulement?
That's all she taught was French.
So Classie, unlike Jeffrey was in a spot where you could kind of change and bring in all the stuff we were listening to in R&B, and you had worked with War and a few other ones. What do you think you brought to like Boo Zoo, who was really pretty old school and traditional? What kind of things that people might not know in general, Jeffrey might, or some of us might know in Zydeco. What do you bring from like all your R&B experience on bass and funk experience into like Boo Zoo? So when you could,
I had a basic knowledge of what was expected of me, but I just didn't know the exact way to do it, and I had no one to tell me. So I just got lucky and just experimented and just came up with something that was like counter to what they were doing and that would fill in the gaps to what they were doing. And just because my whole thing was to try to make the music full where it didn't have gaps in it, So that's what I was trying to do, and I just kind of thought about things that would fill it up.
And Jeffrey, you come from a very well-known musical family too, the Malta Playboys, and your father Delton, and how did the music that Boo Zoo started playing in the 50s and later picked up again like in the sort of 80s, how did that interact with the music you heard growing up and that y'all played?
Well, the music that my father played was more of the Creole traditional music. It was a simple bass pattern, like you were saying. It was mostly like a walk. And the style that changed from what they were doing then. And when Boo Zoo, before Classie joined Boo Zoo, Boo Zoo performing, he had this guy Shelton, what's his name? Jackson playing bass. And he was pretty much playing the same old way like the older people did it. And then when Classie joined Boo Zoo's band, it just changed everything around. The style he had, the licks that he put, his showmanship. I mean, it changed the whole thing, man.
And how did that line up with the beginning of Zydeco Force? Were there influences on each other that you guys had?
Pretty much, because Robbie was playing pretty much his stuff was syncopated, man. I mean, which is, if you listen to a lot of the young bands that's playing today, like Keaton, Chris and J. Paul, all their bass players they're playing syncopated now, to where when you used to play, it was playing at full scale. Now it's like every now and then you'll hear a note, it's just a feel, and that's pretty much what he did. He just took it to another level.
Cool. Hey, how about an example like Johnny Macabri, that bass line? That's a lot different. Nobody in I mean, if your dad covered that band, nobody'd be playing that bass line. People would be in trouble. Well, Calvin Cartier might play it on fiddle, but I mean.
And maybe the same thing. Could you play it a little bit the old way and then move in?
Yeah, sure. All right. hearing something or the way you are feeling at the time. So when I do those things, it just depends on the mood that I'm in at that particular occasion, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, like, sometimes I don't feel like doing a whole lot of fancy stuff, or I'm just not in that kind of mood. So I might just play a whole note.
Play straight, right?
Yeah, you know, just play something just to. But my point is, and as always is always not to have an empty gap in the music. You know, a point in the music where nothing is happening.
And that's because Relish really just like kept it solid.
Yeah, he's solid.
Just solid, not a lot of food.
That's Boo Zoo's son, Relish Chavis, who was the
drummer. Yeah, right.
So, could you whip out? You warmed up enough to whip out some of them?
Yeah, man, I might have to stand up or something.
You gotta stand up there.
Shoulders. Come on, let's go.
A lot of people have been having a fun week, and this is, you know, pulling everything, every ounce, bringing every ounce out of the weekend right here.
Well, that's a splendid example of feel, of just how you feeling.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good right about now. I got old Brandon over here. He holding the gaps down, you know?
Well, and it's just because it's such a good opportunity. I just gotta thank you guys. Everybody wants to know, you know, why does Louisiana music have so much soul? Why is it so funky? What is it about Creole music? What is it about Cajun music? And I just really want to thank you four artists for all y'all have done and all y'all are doing to keep the soul of our music alive. It's a beautiful thing.
Here's an irony in this thing. You know, I played all kind of music forms. This is the one I do particularly like about Acadian Zydeco, is the fact that, you know, you meet so many nice people, you know, out in the public, but especially in the music itself. Because I've worked with this guy, that guy on separate occasions, and we're still friends, and we still will work together again in the future. You know what I'm saying? It's, just because we don't play in the same band currently, don't mean we never gonna play together again. We gonna always play together, and that's cool.
Yeah. Amen. And and I got to thank D'jama, because this was all his idea to make sure that the spotlight got spread around to a place it really needs to shine. And when you talk about playing together and collaborating, working on stuff, it's a great lead-in to one of D'jama's questions he had pointed out. He said, you guys over the years have argued about a dropped beat in the song Lucille, and where it is and where it isn't. So it's all peace, love, and brotherhood, but every once in a while an arrangement has to be figured out, and you can't put, you know. So what is the background on that? Where does?
You know, like different people play it different ways. So my current way of thinking about it is like whoever is the leader, you know, and usually in Zydeco music, it's the accordion player that's leading the thing. So you play it his way, you know. Now, unless that's a problem, then you get with them on the side and say, hey, man, we need to work that problem out. But normally it's not going to be a problem because he's comfortable with it. So you just got to make yourself get comfortable with the way he does it. Because if he plays it right now, it's going to sound one way, and if he plays it, which Brandon plays accordion also, it's going to sound slightly different.
And Jeffrey plays bass as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got not. Hey,
So, where is that? So you got one thing off that, like you evolved into where you drop the beat at, because we do Lucille when it drops a beat. That's Zydeco.
hey,
You know?
can you show, like, yeah, literally?
Yeah, but you drop
a
it.
beat?
You drop it in one place, and you kept saying that Boo Zoo dropped it in another one.
Yes.
You know, and whether that evolved or whether that's on the record, and Boo Zoo played all those things at the same time, always the same way.
Yeah, he's playing.
It might not be very long, it might just be a minute and a half of it, but you know, it's still the same way.
That was the good thing about Mr. Chavis, was the fact that you can rely on him doing it the same way every time. So once you got that in your mind, then you can, you know, position yourself to go along with that, no matter what it is, you know. Because like I said in the first interview, if he does it by himself, then it's a mistake. But if everybody do it, then it's an arrangement.
You guys have heard that record 41 Days, right? You were in the studio, right? And he said, I don't know if it's going to be wrong, but if it's going to be wrong, do it with me. That's what it's going to be.
You're wrong too.
I'm wrong, you're wrong too, exactly.
Yeah, let's see. When you drop it where you play it the way you play it, and we try and find out where you know what he's talking about.
No.
Let's find out. So we'll find out.
How you gonna ask me that? I don't know.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. He's gonna show us.
I mean, different ways to play the song. You did it?
No, do the way we used to do it when we were
inspired by the way he played. His timing would jump all over the place. And,
Oh, you do the intro, man. Do the intro.
I just did it.
No, do the vocal intro with the vocal.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're the only one alive that can do it.
The guy he had playing bass with him before was just playing basic like, you know, the other bass player would play. And I'm like, when I heard him play that song Lucille, I'm like, I'm gonna see how this is gonna turn out. And how he found it, I have no idea. I really don't. I'll never forget the experience that I played drums with Boo Zoo one night at Slim's, and thanks to him, all his 2 steps I had that down pat. I'm like, I got that rip, I'm not worried about it. He played a waltz. And I'm like, I couldn't, the way his timing went. And I'm pretty much with the feel of playing music. I pretty got a good ear, pretty standard. But I mean, the way he was playing that waltz threw me off. I'm like, my God, what am I gonna do? This man coached me through the whole song. So after he got through playing the song, Boo Zoo turned around. Excuse my French, get no damn drummer. But he had to walk me through the song, and I could pretty much jump on the stage with anybody seriously. And if they the waltz, I could play.
Oh yeah, I second that.
That particular night when I played that waltz with that man, I mean, it had me scared because I couldn't figure out where to fall back on the one that. And he coached me through the whole song. Thanks to him, I wouldn't have made it.
And that's a great point. You know, like a waltz, you would think, well, no, you've really got to keep it simple. But you know, you have a very virtuosic bass style. Can y'all maybe demonstrate a waltz and how do you not get in the way of the pretty melody and the movements of the waltz?
Man, that was the popular song with Can Ray the first time. When the vocal came in. Which one? I'm going. magazine thing in here. So if you,
We kind of think it's a little overdue for sort of Bass Player magazine to do a story on Zydeco Bass. So we thought we would maybe just do the interview and send them the story, see if they'll print it. So I mean, if we need y'all to write some letters or send some emails for us to lobby for that.
yeah.
It worked for Offbeat.
Don't we have to bring in the big guns? Like, where's Dan Wilgang? Thank you, Dan, wherever you at, for this article. Hey, so starting with your bass, what are you playing, and where did you get that bass from, and what kind of strings do you string it with?
Okay, this is a Tobias bass. It's made by a guy named Michael Tobias, originally from California. It was a weird circumstance because when I went shopping, they didn't have the color that I wanted, so I ordered one. They had to call the factory, so I was able to talk to the person on the other end of the line and tell them what I wanted and stuff. And you know, we got it shipped in and everything through Houston. And a year later, I was out touring with Boo Zoo, and I was on Santa Monica Pier. And a guy came up to me and said, "Man, that's a nice bass you're playing, man. Where'd you get that from?" And I told him, you know, and he said, "Yeah, man, I'm nice to meet you. My name is Michael Tobias."
Whoa! Wow.
And he sold his company to Gibson, and he started a new company called MTB Basses.
Yeah, those are great basses.
So he's still active. He's in New York now.
When he made those pickups,
These are Diodero pickups. They're from Italy.
and what are you stringing with bass strings you prefer?
I prefer roto sound, medium.
Wow, old school, man.
Yeah, they give me the grip. Well, I'm basically an old school player because, you know, like my forte came from the 70s. And in those days, everybody was using Fender basses, and it was all about being way at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Well, being that I was young, I didn't want to just stay down there. I wanted to kind of, you know, I wanted to be heard. You know what I mean? I wanted to be clear. So instead of using the flat wound strings that we were using back in the time, I started using round wound so that I could play on the top, and you could hear what I was doing on the top. But my influence is the old school. So I found something that's kind of like halfway in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can do both things.
Yeah, that's a great string. But what did you use for Boo Zoo's first album? What kind of bass did you remember?
Yeah, I had a Fender P bass.
Did you sing that with round wounds?
Yeah.
And what basses have you had to give up that you would have loved to have kept? That you
one in particular, I had it was licensed by Horner, but it was a
Hoffner?
But anyway, it was a bass that the tuning keys, instead of being here on the neck, Steinberger. The tuning keys were here, and I had an endorsement with them. So at one time I had 4 of them, and just throughout the years, people have talked me out of them, and now I don't have even one. You know?
They make a 5-string now.
Well, I had that. I took a 5-string on the road for 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, can you imagine a big old guy like me playing a bass this big?
Doesn't Family Man play that?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't have no luggage problems.
Well, and there are a lot of hallmarks. We'll definitely take an audience question or two, but Offbeat did a good job of excerpting a piece from the interview last time. You know, you talked about how you play with one hand, you can have a drink, you can have a smoke, you can keep the band moving. But everybody wants to know what effect the scarves have on the sound of the bass.
They make the player play better. It's become so much of a habit that when I don't have them, and it's only been one gig where I was forbidden to have the scarves on the thing. It was in California, and it was during the height of the gang stuff, and they were scared that the scarves was going to offend one gang or the other. So they asked me to take it off, and really I had to fight the feeling, because I almost said, well, I ain't playing. You know, because I've been having these things on here since '72, and they actually, the guitar don't feel the same without it on there. If I take that off there, it just don't feel right.
And since that trip to Africa, people have just been giving them to you, right?
Yes.
So you have this collection, and when you get a gift, you put it on and until you get the next gift, right?
And I never throw one away. Like if somebody gave me one, I still got it. Yeah.
So, I was wondering if the former king of Abidjan might tell us what kind of rig he's using today. The former king of Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, Classie Ballou Jr.
Why you say former, man? I just haven't been there in a while.
Well, as soon as the plane touched the tarmac, you're going to be reinstated, my brother.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, what you want to know?
What kind of rig are you using? Amplifier? What kind of amp you have?
At home, I have a David Eden head with a Yorkville 410 cabinet.
Oh, it's an 800? 800?
Yes, but on the road, I use PB.
And what rigs have you run into with all these festivals? They always have these big rigs and SVTs and stuff set up. Have you seen any that you preferred out there?
Yeah, the Galen Kruger is like a standard thing. The 800 watt RB is it's just reliable. They all sound exactly alike, so I know exactly how I want to set it, and I don't have to waste too much time. What I don't like is I don't like the little rigs where you can't see the knobs. And then you got to get on your knees just to set it, and then we don't never have no time for all of that. Everybody think that this thing is luxurious, but I mean it's always pressure, time. Next band got to come up. You got 5 minutes. You got to be ready to roll, and I don't like to be the person that they waiting for. So now if I got to get down there and get on my knees and do all of that, man, I just turn it on and just whatever come out of it, that'll be fine for the day. Let's move on.
And you got active bass, or is it active passive? That's a bias?
Yes.
It's active, or it's active?